whatever, right? But anyway, the point is that Chilli and Matthew Lawrence, they actually made a video of themselves dancing, and I guess it went viral. And somebody in the video, I guess several people in the video, made the comment that, oh, Matthew Lawrence has rhythm now. You know, he got himself some chocolate, and now he has rhythm. And Chilli bounced back and said that he didn't have chocolate, he had caramel, because she said she's caramel, not chocolate. Well, the internet basically lost its mind, um, and they were telling her that she is indeed chocolate, and that um, you know that basically, how dare she call herself something else. And the reason why I said this goes along with colorism when I was talking about Lupita and Jody, because once again, it's this idea of black black people, black women in particular, being identified by by a shade, and it's all so subjective. So the thing is that, you know, they were saying that Chilli was a colorist and that she's practicing colorism, and okay, sure, but then aren't all of you, like, isn't everybody doing that if that's the case? Because, you know, I say everybody, I mean the majority of black people, right? And, you know, whether you want to call yourself, you know, pecan or peanut butter or hot fudge, or I mean whatever, cinnamon, you know, mocha, you know, toffee nut, just whatever. Yes, it's very subjective, absolutely. And so that's the thing. You know, you can't tell somebody, no, you are this, because, you know, this person's saying that they are caramel, like, you know, like Chilli said that she is. You know, you can put that up against someone else and they will say, well, no, which people were trying to tell her that she was chocolate, but then somebody else may look at Chilli and say, oh, Chilli's light skin. I mean, it literally depends on who you're talking to and how they define, whatever flavor or, color that they are. And a lot of times this stuff starts in families, right? So if you have people who, if the majority of people outside of the family would look at somebody and say, oh, they were considered, a browner hue, and then that person inside of the family, if they are the lightest person in the family, then they consider themselves light skinned. So I just say it's all detrimental to, yes, and your hair, absolutely, your hair determines things. How coily is your hair? um Golly. And then, if you get the mix of, you could have the browner skin, right? But then if you've got the good hair, well, then okay, then that's a pass too. And I always say colorism operates the same way. Colorism operates in the Black community the same way racism operates in the wider community, right? White people practice racism because it keeps them on top. It keeps them in a position of power. Black people practice colorism because it keeps them in a position of power within the Black community, right? If you take away colorism from Black people aren't allowed to put other Black people in boxes with colorism and hair texture. Then what do you have? Then at that point, you're trying to say that everybody's the same. And that's the same thing. Just like white people don't want that with racism, right? They need some way to have power. Black people feel the same way about colorism, which is why, it's still practiced. Colorism could be done with Black people. If Black people really thought that it was an issue, but Black people don't want to get rid of colorism, right? It gives them power. It gives them power within the Black community. Now, as a whole, with white people don't care about, colorism. They look at you all and say you're all Black, right? But Black people don't want to throw that away. Why? Because they look at it as, a point of power. So I'm not even saying that's what Chilli was doing, right? Chilli, I'm not saying that's what she was doing. I'm just pointing that out, that Yeah, that if she says she's caramel, well, first of all, why can't she say she's caramel if that's what she says she is? Because she says she's not chocolate if she doesn't have a tan. But Black people were so quick to make it be like, no, you are chocolate, you are chocolate. Well, what difference does it make? Right? It's all subjective. What difference does it make? But somehow that either makes you feel better about yourself to make her identify as chocolate, or it makes you feel worse about yourself. If you say, well, gosh, if Chilli doesn't identify as chocolate, then what does that make me, right? So there's so much there that I think Black people have issues with.